Howdy y'all, welcome to HAZE&BARRELCRAFTWORKS. I'm the Alchemist. And April is passing us by. I don't even know what week this is. Is this, I think the third week of April. And we're still in Jack Daniel's month. And I'm just comparing the different Jack Daniel's bottles that I have on my Jack Daniel's whiskey shelf over there. And just running through is, you know, one better than another, is one a better value than another, and I hope you've been enjoying what I've been throwing at you, and at least making a Jack Daniel's lover out of you if you haven't been before, because boy, I sure do love my Jack Daniel's. And today what I'm looking at is a couple different bottles, and one is the Jack Daniel's Triple Mash blended straight whiskey, a blend of bonded American malt, rye, and Tennessee whiskeys, and it's bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof. So we'll compare that one to a bottle that I first found in duty free when I was traveling back to the US from a trip to Munich. And for the longest time, that's the only place I can get it. And this is Jack Daniel's Single Malt Oloroso Sherry Cask. So they make their Jack Daniel's, their typical Jack Daniel's, and then they age it again in Oloroso Sherry casks, and they call this a single malt. And so it's, I'm trying to see what the, this is a new take on timeless single malt tradition, charcoal mellowed the Tennessee way, aged in handcrafted newly charred oak barrels, then finished in the very finest Oloroso sherry casks. It's rich and complex, described as dark chocolate-covered nuts and berries with a subtle Oloroso finish. So it follows the Tennessee process, but I can't find the... I mean, when I assume a malt, I assume a barley, but it doesn't come out and say that. So let me cleanse my palate a little bit, or refresh my palate a little bit with some cucumber water. And let's start with this triple mash and see what we got. Okay, interesting on the nose. A little bit fruitier and nuttier than what I remembered having it in the past. Let's see what we got in the palate. Definitely fruity on the palate. And this one comes in when you buy this one. This is again in that 30 and under range, depending on where you get it. I've even seen it close to $20. Very, much on the fruity side, but then at the same time, there's like this grain funkiness to it that is enjoyable. At 100 proof, a little bit of heat or on the tip of the palate, that funkiness I get up front dissipates to that fruity sweetness all over the mid palate, just all over the place. What's missing for me is more barrel. On the finish in the back of the palate, I'm still getting some fruit, but I would love to have more barrel. It's just not there for me. That doesn't make this a bad one. I'm really, really enjoying how much fruitiness there is to this one, because I'm also a guy who loves that mixed fruit sweetness in a whiskey, and it really surprises me because I don't remember that from the last time I had this pour. I remember it being more grainy and more grain funk. So this is a surprise to me today. Very good pour, and for the price point, a good one. Now let's move on to the Oloroso. And the Oloroso was quite a bit of a jump in price, because I believe when I got it in duty free, it's been about that 55, I think it was $55 I picked it up in duty free. This is my last bottle that I bought in duty free. I think I've bought about 3 or 4 of them. I really enjoy this bottle. I have never picked it up now that they sell it in the US. And to be honest with you, I don't recall US prices, because I have never seen it around my area in the US. So any of y'all who know, put it in the comments for others to know what this costs now that it's released in the US. I have not looked at it. But it still is available in duty free. But typically in duty free, what duty free expects from distilleries is that they give duty free something special that's not released in across normal markets. For example, Wild Turkey for the longest time always chill filtered their whiskeys. And you could only get in duty-free non-chill filtered versions of Wild Turkey. Well, this was one Jack Daniel's release that you could only get in duty-free. And now you can get it released in the US, and you can also get it in duty-free. So I don't know what now you can get in duty-free for Jack Daniel's that you cannot get released in the US market. So let me cleanse my palate here, and let's dive into this one and see what I get in my palate this time. Because I remember the deliciousness of this bottle, but like the triple mash bonded, boy, it changed up on me. So let's see what we get. Okay, on the nose, incredibly rich. I mean, this is rich. A very rich sweetness. I do smell barrel spice, and it's a very inviting barrel spice. It's a barrel spice that's hard to describe in this moment, but if I had to, I would say that it's allspice, because it's complex, it's sweet, it leans towards cinnamon, which to me allspice does a little bit, but not necessarily cinnamon. And it's very sweet smelling, and to me that's indicative of a lot of scotches that are aged in, either aged for the full time or aged, second barrel aged in an Oloroso sherry cask, have this very definite, rich, sweet sherry, Oloroso sherry sweetness to them. But this is rich. I mean, and let me remove this. Just look at that dark, rich color to it. It is just, oh, let me go in. Okay. Wow. Two things I notice on the Kentucky Chew that cannot be denied. The viscosity of this one is overall the best viscosity of any of the whiskeys that I have had all month long. And that sherry sweetness is so inviting. It is so rich. And in with that Oloroso sweetness, there's this caramel complement that reminds me of just a nice basic Old Number 7 pour. And I know not everyone loves Old Number 7 as much as I do, but you get an Old Number 7 and you just have a neat pour of it, and you just get that basic caramel with a hint of vanilla and that barrel in there. It's that Old Number 7 with the Tennessee process in there, the Tennessee whiskey maple charcoal filter process that gives Old Number 7 its distinct flavor, and that caramel is part of that, and you get a hint of that in with that rich sherry finish in here. That's the first thing you get. The sweetness on this is delightful from the very beginning. Carries through the mid palate. The finish is very long. As it starts to fade, you get this beautiful mixture of that rich sherry sweetness and a touch of that caramel and some nice light barrel on the back of the palate. And this finish is nice and long. And I'm not kidding, your entire palate and inside of your mouth is just coated with the viscosity and sweetness of that fantastic sherry of this Oloroso, this single malt. I mean, this rivals. I'm a Scotch guy too. This rivals some of the best Scotches I've had finished in a Oloroso barrel. This is very good, and for that price point of, like I said, in duty free, I think the last bottle I picked up was at, pretty certain it was like at $55. If you all see this here in the U.S. market, it's worth picking up a bottle. This is a fantastic pour. It's worth the price difference between this triple mash, although the triple mash is a good fruity flavored pour, a nice little bit of a grain funk in it too. And I mean grain funk in the most positive way, because it just provides a uniqueness to it. But this Oloroso single malt is outstanding in my opinion. But as y'all know, I love to have y'all coming back around. So please, take it easy. Don't drink and drive. Cheers.